What's up guys, AD back with another Destiny Child video, and in today's video everyone, we are going to be overviewing my World Boss Trial Season 29 Phorcus team guide that I put together for all of you to follow, so hopefully this does help you throughout our current World Boss Trial. But before we get started, make sure to leave a like on this video, as well as be sure to subscribe to the channel, and of course check out channel memberships down below if you're interested in further supporting the channel for a small cost, and in return you'll receive some channel perks as well as some emotes for the comments. And most importantly, a huge thank you to all of the members that have joined so far. But with all of that being said, let's get started here with the guide overview for our latest World Boss Trial. Now first up, we do have the Dark Defender Phorcus here, shown on the left hand side, looking amazing. I'll be sure to overview her skill set in a separate video, as well as Chandra's, the new light type supporter. Now on the right side here, we have the boss skill set for the World Boss Trial units. As for the tap skill here, we have deal damage 2 times to 4 enemies, priority buffed, inflict buff blast, remove the last applied buff, then deal damage based on its effect type by a factor of 300, and skill gauge charge amount minus 40% for the front row for 14 seconds. As for the slide skill here, deal damage 2 times to 5 enemies, priority debuffed, inflict time bomb, after 5 seconds explode for 500 damage, and slide skill cooldown plus 1 second plus 1 for 14 seconds. Next here, the drive skill does deal damage to all enemies in the front row, and for the leader buff here, we have debuff evasion plus 30%, all skill defense plus 80% except for weak point attributes, and allure immunity for all allies. So a pretty decent boss skill set here for Phorcus. I wouldn't say she is too strong, but definitely the buff blast would be pretty annoying if she does happen to land it, and of course the skill gauge charge amounts for your front row. But we definitely do have some ways to counter this boss, so let's get started with the units recommendations. First up here everyone, starting from the left hand side, we have the boost childs, which of course will be Chandra, the new light type supporter, as well as Laura, the light type attacker. As for the debuff counter category, everyone, it's suggested to run 1 to 2 of these units depending on your team comp, but of course first up here we have Babel, which is recommended to run on slide only, and Babel here provides charge amount minus 40 boss as well as drive gauge minus. As for the second recommendation here, if you don't happen to have Babel, you can run Alter Davi on slide only as well, and Alter Davi here provides blind as well as debuff accuracy minus. Next here everyone, we have the debuff extenders. It's recommended to run both of these units. First up here we have Navi, and it's recommended to run her on slide only. Navi here provides overgrowth, debuff evasion minus as well as debuff duration plus, and Lewin here provides anti-barrier as well as debuff duration plus, and you should run her on slide only as well. Next here everyone, we have the disable strategy, and it's recommended to run both of these units. Now first up here we have Bradamante, in which you'll run her on slide only, and Bradamante here provides skill charge minus 40 boss as well as skill gauge minus, and Pan here provides skill reset as well as skill charge minus, in which you'll be running her on slide only as well. Now Bradamante here does happen to need full ignition to be usable, so if you don't happen to have her, you can toss in a unit like Billy, the water type debuffer, if you do happen to have her as well, as she'll be pretty useful. Next here everyone, we have the dancing blade slash defense minus. It's recommended to run 1 to 2 of these units. Now first up here we have Ramlethal, which is a collaboration exclusive child from our recent Guilty Gear Strive collaboration event. So if you don't happen to have Ramlethal, you'll have to go with a Lady Bathory for this category here. But Ramlethal here, it's recommended to test out her leader skill, and of course run her on slide only. Now Ramlethal will be required to have 3-star ignition in order to use her, so if you don't have her ignited to 3 stars, don't implement her into your lineup. Make sure to just use a Lady Bathory. Now Ramlethal here, you should run her on slide only, and she provides attack steal, debuff evasion minus as well as defense minus. As for Lady Bathory here, you should run her on slide only, and she provides defense minus as well as dancing blade. Next here everyone, we have weak point defense minus. It's recommended to run one of these characters. Now first up here we have Mercury, in which you do have to have her ignited to 4 stars in order to use her for this event, and if you don't have her ignited to 4 stars, then make sure to use Midas instead. Now for Mercury here as well as Midas, you'll be running these characters on slide only, and Mercury provides a weak point defense minus as well as all skill defense minus and attack minus slash defense minus. As for Midas here, he provides weak point defense minus. Next here we have double-edged sword. It's recommended to run one of these characters, and we do have here Saturn, which you should should run her on slide only, and she provides double-edged sword as well as slide skill damage plus. Next here we have skill defense minus. It's recommended to run this character here in Oracle Werewolf, in which she does provide tap skill defense minus, slide skill defense minus, and all skill defense minus, and you should run Werewolf here on slide only. As for the final category of this row, we have the aid category, in which you should run Newbie Mona. It's recommended to run her on slide or slide tap tap, and a Newbie Mona here provides vampirism, aid, and charge speed plus. Next here everyone, we have the crit buffer category. It's recommended to run one of these characters. As for the priority here, you should run Lupin, and for her skill order, we have her set to slide and 4 taps. As for Lupin here, she provides Nullify Smite, Awakening, crit rate, and crit damage plus, as well as slide skill final blow. Now if you don't happen to have Lupin, you can use Pantheon, and you should run him on slide only, and for the buffs Pantheon does provide, he will grant your units crit rate plus as well as crit damage plus. Next here we have the offensive stance category, in which you should be running this units here anyways for the double-edged sword in Saturn. Now Saturn here, you should run her on slide only, and she does provide double-edged sword as well as slide skill damage plus. As for the next category here everyone, we have offensive support, and it's recommended to run 3 to 4 of these characters. Now first up we have Chandra, the new light type supporter, in which you should run anyway for the boost here during the World Boss trial, and it's recommended to test out her leader skill. As for the skill order, you should run Chandra on slide or slide tap tap. Now you should run her on slide tap tap if you do happen to ignite her until the point in which she does unlock turn based for her slide skill. Now if you don't happen to have her ignited, then feel free to run her on slide only, but if you are struggling with survivability, you may need to add some taps in there anyways. As for the buffs that Chandra provides, she does provide skill damage plus a certain percentage, skill cooldown minus, as well as time based debuff removal from the tap skill. As for the next unit here, we have light type Jakangbi. Now you'll need to have Jakangbi ignited to at least 2 stars, which of course is only 2 cores, so you should be able to do this fairly easily. Now it's recommended to run Jakangbi on tap only or 1 slide and 4 taps, and Jakangbi here provides end cooldown. Next here we have Salos, and it's recommended to run her on slide only, in which Salos here provides slide skill boost percentage plus as well as max HP plus. As for the second to last unit here everyone, we have Nimhain, in which you should run her on slide and 4 taps, and Nimhain provides skill full charge as well as attack percentage plus. Finally here we have Anemone, and it's recommended to run her on slide or slide tap tap, and Anemone here provides heal, immunity, skill charge percentage plus, attack percentage plus, and invincibility. Next up here everyone, we have speed buffers as well as cooldown reduction. Now it's recommended to run 3 to 4 of these characters. First up here we have Sweet Citri, which does happen to be ran on slide only, and she provides back row slide cooldown minus, slide damage plus, as well as attack plus. Next here we have Maid Citri, in which is recommended to run her on slide tap tap, and Maid Citri here provides wood charge amounts plus as well as gauge charge. Next up here we have Tragedy Rusalka. It's recommended to run her on tap or slide and 4 taps, and Rusalka here provides fire nullified debuffs as well as fire charge amounts plus and gauge charge. Next here we have another collaboration exclusive character in Melia, in which is recommended to run her on either slide or slide and 4 taps, and Melia here provides skill charge plus, debuff evasion plus, as well as full charge from her tap skill. And last but not least for this category, we have Wodan, in which it's recommended to run her on slide only, and Wodan here provides skill charge speed percentage plus and skill cooldown minus. As for the healers here everyone, it's recommended to run 0 to 1 of these characters. Now first up we have Freya, in which you should run her on slide only, and Freya here provides full team heal as well as debuff evasion percentage plus. As for the other 2 units here, it's recommended to run Alf or Mats, as both of these units should be ran on slide, as they both do provide full team heal. Next here we have the defenders, in which it's recommended to run 0 to 1 of these units. Now first up here we have Nephthys, and you should run her on slide only, in which she does provide full team barrier, or you can run Zooing Mars on slide only, and she provides full team barrier as well. Next up here everyone, for the light attackers, it's recommended to run 2 to 3 of these characters. As for the first units here, we have Arya, in which you should run her on slide only. Next here we have Laura, in which it's recommended to test out her leader skill, and you should run Laura on 1 tap and 4 slides. Next here we have Titania, in which it's recommended to run her on slide only, and next up we have Gunslinger Hilder, in which you should run her on slide as well. And last but not least we have Lassie here, in which you'll be running on slide also. As for the notes here, 2 to 3 attack attackers is sufficient. As for the next tip here, Oracle Werewolf, your light type debuffer should be set to slide tap if you are using tap based attackers. Next here we have if your maid Citri is ignited to 3 stars, you can run, slide, and 4 taps. And for the third and final tip here, if you're using Ramladal, she requires 4 red stars, and you should consider using 4-star Kalchas alongside her, but of course he'll need to be fully ignited as well. Next up here everyone, we have the recommended soul cards for the event, in which we do have the attacker cards here on the left hand side. First up we have Fighting Game Geek, which does increase max attack percentage plus. Next here we have Fitting, which increases critical skill damage plus a certain percentage. And last but not least we have Full Moon Luna, in which this card increases weak point percentage plus. Now for the priority, I would definitely say the Fitting Carta does seem pretty amazing, as of course it does increase critical skill damage plus, and if your units are lacking attack, or if you would like to increase their max attack significantly if they are critting with no issue, then you can definitely resort to the Fighting Game Geek Soul Carta. As for the debuffer Carta everyone, we have Troubleshooter Mona, which will increase your debuffer's debuff accuracy percentage plus, as well as Juno's Gift here, which does increase debuff duration plus by a certain percentage to the boss. As for the supporter and take cartas, we have Change of Air, in which it does increase skill gauge percentage plus, and last but not least we have Showtime, which does increase debuff evasion percentage plus. Now if you don't happen to have Change of Air or Showtime, your supporters can pretty much use any HP/defense carta, just make sure to toss something on them at the very least. As for the sample lineup here everyone, it's recommended to of course test the off element duo of Pepita and Grilla. Now if you don't happen to have them invested into significantly, no worries, as we have the sample lineup here consisting of the front row, which does start off with Babel, Tragedy Rusalka, Nubimona, Salos, Citri, Chandra, Lady Bathory, Nimhain, Jakangbi, Lewin, and for the back row here we have Arya, Laura, Titania, Navi, Oracle Werewolf, Saturn, Mercury, Lupin, Maid Citri, and Freya. Now for the drive order here, it's recommended to run Chandra into Nimhain drive and end off with Saturn drive. And for the leader skill, you can test a combination of Chandra or Laura, as well as Ramladal if you do happen to have her. As for the final tips here, always make sure to drive Saturn before Fever Time. Experiment with other drive skills and skill orders. Examples: Mercury drive, Oracle Werewolf drive, Maid Citri, etc. Next here, the team composition above is a sample team for new players, low budget, as well as no collaboration units. And for the second to last tip here, we have experiments with other leader skills. Examples: Laura, Ramladal, Saturn, etc. And for the final tip here, the Solo Carta Tea Bloody Tea Time is another great option for your supporters. So that'll pretty much do it for the team guide overview here everyone on the channel for the World Boss Trial Season 29 Phorcus event. So make sure to let me know in the comment section below if this guide was helpful to you all, as well as let me know if you guys would like to see more Destiny Child content, and be sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a like on this video if you did enjoy as well. Also make sure to check out channel memberships down below if you're interested in further supporting the channel, and of course check out the links in the description box below to my Twitch live stream channel, as well as to my Twitter accounts if you're interested in following me there as well. But with all of that being said, I'll catch you all on the next Destiny Child video. As always, thank you all so much for watching.